What up, guys? So today's question comes from Jack, and Jack has a wrestling background from high school, so he wrestled in high school, has some of the basics. He's getting into jiu-jitsu, and he feels like he's having a lot of trouble with the grips, or with the gi on, right? And he was wondering, sent me the message, does the Chewster have a particular setup that he likes to do with the gi, right? So a particular wrestling style takedown, but with the gi on, and just sort of get his wheels turning, so to speak, and how to transition his wrestling into jiu-jitsu. So brother, thank you for the question. I will show you my favorite. This is probably my favorite wrestling style takedown that I use in the gi. I use it in no gi too, but it's my favorite one in the gi. I'll show you why it is, and hopefully this helps you out. All right, Jack, so let's get into it. Let's focus on the setup part, because that was really the big issue, right? As soon as you get this damn gi on, you get locked up in these grips and it can be very difficult, right? So I'm gonna show you my setup, the way that I set it up, and hopefully you'll like this. I'm going to be standing with a right lead, right? So my right leg is leading. So what I wanna do is I wanna basically get a hold of the right side wrist, and I wanna have a left side collar, okay? These will be your most basic grips with this thing. If I want the left side collar, I don't want to necessarily lead with my left hand. Why is that? Well, think about it this way. If I'm going with Hayden here, if I start to reach out with my hand to go for the collar here, we'll go with the left side, he can intercept that grip and get it out of the way and fight for it and get control, right? So what I like to do first is, again, we're here, I like to start by grabbing out with my right so his hands go down to fight that, bang, and then we get the left, okay? So it's kind of a 1-2. So a lot of times if I'm going, it's pop, pop, right there, going over top. Also, by pulling this out, I can make sure I get a stronger grip here. We're aiming to get this grip right around the collarbone, shoulder area, right? Not up here, not down here, but right here, okay? Now, the beautiful part is that once we get this, if he did go in to intercept the hand, which actually happens more often than not, once I get this grip, this hand can immediately go to the wrist. Now, even in the gi, I like having wrist control on this. I don't like the sleeve for this one. I like having wrist control. Now again, I've talked about this numerous times, but it always is worth bringing up. When we get wrist control, we're focusing our middle finger and thumb right around, you can see the little nodule right here in his wrist here. And then right below that is that point where it's bigger here, and then it comes down into like a little groove, and it's a beautiful spot to have for your wrist control. And then your other fingers just latch on wherever else. So we're in these grips here. Now I've got what I want. Now, as far as head position goes, right? We're in our stance here. I like to be head to head. And if you notice, when I'm here, I'm using my forehead, right? And I'm looking to the center of the chest. By looking at the center, I can see what his arms are doing. I can see what his legs are doing as we move. Now, he's not mirroring me yet. So for instance, if I'm doing a single leg, I want to have him here. Something to this degree, right? I would like to get him heavy on this foot, and I would like him to mirror me, meaning like we're just opposites. This is pretty common though, okay? So he's sitting with his left leg back, so I want that leg back. So what do I do to get it forward, okay? Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to begin to circle away. Do not step back. A lot of times, and you know this already because you wrestled, but a lot of people that haven't wrestled, Jack, they'll start to step backwards, and that makes me flat-footed, and I'm super susceptible to being taken down. So we're gonna circle away, and as he begins to circle towards me, I give that wrist a little pull. Now, depending on his stance and his discipline, he may give me a little step, may give me a big step, right? It depends. I don't need a huge step. If I can get his foot even like squared up, if I can get him there, as long as he's heavy on this, that's good enough, okay? So from here, I'm circling away, pulling. And for any of you guys that are relatively new to takedowns and everything else, watch my feet. My stance does not change. My stance is staying the same, because as soon as I get him here, he just went on there, I have to be able to take a step here with my lead leg. So if my stance was to change, now I'm gonna have to take a step, and I'm gonna have to adjust just to get back into my stance, and by then it's gonna be too late. Head to head, I'm circling away, pulling. Now, you may have to do this 1, 2, 3 times. You never know, right? Depends on the situation. But I'm just gonna do this one time now so we can get into this. I'm gonna circle away, give him a little pull, there it is. Take a step on the outside of the leg, and then I'm going to drop to my knee. As I'm dropping to the knee, I'm putting my body on the outside of his, and on this collar, I am yanking down and hanging onto it. In the gi version of this, I think of it almost like a seonagi, where you're dropping and you're hanging onto it. Obviously very different, but I'm hanging onto it. So from here, as I'm circling here, boom, step, dropping, and I'm in a good position here to drive, pick it up, and I can get that catch in the leg. So again, I circle, get the step. He gives me that heavy foot. I take a step, squat down low here. I've got the collar. I'm dropping in here. Okay, I'm pulling here hard and then going into it. What'll end up happening is, depending on how far forward this foot is, if I yank on this collar, notice that foot has to step out and it throws him off balance. It makes it much easier to come up from the position here. So again, from this position, we're going 1, 2, 3, circle, step, pull, picking that leg up, and then we can finish however we want to. Now, why do I like this for jiu-jitsu? Well, one, we're utilizing the gi, okay? We're being able to use it and make it work for us. But what's a big issue when you shoot in for a takedown, Jack? We're worried about guillotines, we're worried about those things. And if we try to shoot in for like a double leg or whatever, or any straight takedown, these collars can get in our way. Hayden could have a collar grip, and as long as I'm on the inside here, I can take a step and I'm good, because I'm going at an angle and I'm not in danger for a guillotine because I'm off at a side. And so for me, that is my favorite single leg setup in the gi. I like it. It puts us on the side. We're able to get in, get the leg. We're able to utilize the gi to really snap and break that posture down. And that's one that I've used a lot. It's been very successful for me, both in gi and no gi in jiu-jitsu. So hopefully that gives you an idea of something that you can possibly use in your next training session, your next drilling session, or your next match. So thanks for the question, Jack. I'll talk to you guys next time.